So as per usual, when it comes to new updates to the game, Genshin Impact players are excited. There is a whole lot of new content and even new characters for us to explore and mess around with. And thanks to the Update 2.1 trailer we received from miHoYo, we actually have a pretty good idea of what we may expect. However, as opposed to something like Update 1.6's Midsummer Island Adventure, the story-related contents of Update 2.1's Floating World Under the Moonlight trailer were pretty intense. The stakes are as high as ever, and there are a number of questions to be had and hopefully be answered. Now, one scene in particular was especially interesting and maybe even a bit concerning. I am talking about Kazuha versus the Raiden Shogun herself. Hello kings, queens, and majesties, welcome to WhaleStat. I am Slice of Otaku, and Kazuha is one of my absolute favorite characters in the game right now. From his story to his mechanics, I can't get enough of the guy. He is just that great to me all around. And so with that, the prospect of him clashing with the Electro Archon Baal is more than enough to grab my attention. This is a very dangerous position for Kazuha to be in, and so a number of players have begun to question if this will in fact be the death of Kazuha Kazuha. Now, I imagine some of you may actually be taken aback by the prospect of death in Genshin Impact at all, especially considering we are pretty much able to play most of its major characters in the game. However, I wouldn't put it past miHoYo at all. In regards to the previous games such as Honkai 3rd Impact, which I admittedly have a very limited frame of reference with, things get dark. From the game itself to the manga series, there are a number of instances in which even the most beloved of characters have their mortality challenged, and in certain cases, perhaps death would be a more relieving fate to have. However, Honkai 3rd Impact in its beginnings was apparently just as calm and happy-go-lucky as Genshin Impact. So yeah, things can most definitely change. And for me at least, certain stories in the game, like what happened to Havria the God of Salt, are pretty depressing as is. So yes, character deaths are not outside of the realm of possibility here. However, do I believe that Kazuha Kazuha will die here? No. I honestly don't think that we will be seeing a character death in the story of Genshin Impact for quite some time, especially not for Kazuha, and that is for a few reasons. For as much as many of us may love these characters, I don't feel like we've had enough interaction time with them to warrant such a thing. The fact of the matter being that once a character has died, in theory, that makes them inaccessible for later points in the story. A grand story of at least 7 parts, of which we have only experienced 2. Now with that being said, although I don't believe this will be the end of Kazuha's life, I do believe that it will be one of, if not the most important moment in his individual story. You see, the prior transgressions of the Raiden Shogun have caused many life-altering ramifications in the case of Kazuha. This is a character all about his freedom who for the longest time desired to roam the country. Yet because of the Archon's declaration of the Vision Hunt Decree, he was forced to abandon some of those freedoms in exchange for safety and caution as he and many others went into hiding. And when one of his dearest friends challenged the Raiden Shogun and was killed, Kazuha's life was completely derailed as he took the Vision Shell and fled from his home entirely. From then on, attempting to restore it for quite some time. And so for him to now be facing off against the Raiden Shogun and her famed Musono Hitotachi, the very same sword art that his late friend believed someone would be able to withstand, is monumental. And interestingly enough, with miHoYo's blog post about the character prior to release, there is one part that I found to be especially interesting. Quote, Kazuha, who has traversed around the lands, has avoided countless torrents of storms and flashes of lightning. This time, however, what awaits him will be an unprecedented thunderstorm. This time, he will no longer seek refuge. He, the rain, and the lightning will meet at the intersection of fate as destiny marks it. What was no doubt a foreshadowing of events to come. I mean, when Kazuha joined the fight alongside the Sangonomiya rebels, I was hype. And so with that, perhaps the rain may be likened to the presence of the revolution's leader, Sangonomiya Kokomi. Now because Baal can disable the power of a vision in the midst of battle, one might just believe that Kazuha has no chance of survival against her. However, as far as Kazuha is concerned, the possession of a vision is merely the proof of a person's strength, rather than its source. That as a samurai, he places his faith in his blade alone. Additionally, considering all his attempts to awaken the power of his late friend's vision, I imagine that is a story beat worth seeing to fruition as well, especially considering the vision shell portion of his story yet remains locked. Now, as the Traveler, in meeting with many former vision bearers who'd fallen victim to the Vision Hunt decree, we know visions to be intrinsically tied to one's very will. And so perhaps the desire to cross blades with the Shogun's divine wrath in a fit of bravery would be enough for him to rejuvenate its power. And so with all this in mind, with just how monumental this all serves to be for the sake of Kazuha's character, for me at least, his death, or even the idea of him being saved by the Traveler, does not serve much of a productive purpose at all. At the end of the day, yes, the Traveler is the main character of the story, but that does not mean that other characters do not have their own individual stakes. And so as opposed to MiHoYo providing us with the first major character death of the series, I believe the first true fulfillment of a character's story is more likely, which I feel makes Kazuha out to be a very unique case indeed. But please let us know what you think about all this down below. How do you think Kazuha will fare in this conflict? Does this at all serve to discredit and or undermine the divine wrath of the Electro Archon? On that front, I'd personally say that it's too soon to tell, but who knows. The support you guys have shown over here has been really appreciated, and so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to subscribe to WhaleStat with notifications on to be here for all that there is to come. I have been your host, Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.